Israel Ajose, welcome to the Dear Souls podcast. What ignites your energy and inspires you to do what you do every day?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
You're welcome.
Well, life itself, a continuation, the meaning of life, enabled to grow, to expand, to know more, to progress, to advance further in every way, physically, mentally, spiritually, is that what propels me to do what it is that I'm doing and connects me to what it is that I do. So essentially, it's about the essence and the meaning of life itself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. I love it. I love it. So, we're going to dive into your journey from professional boxing to astrology. It's quite
Yeah.
unique. You don't get that every day. So, what
Yeah.
led you to this transition and how did your experiences in the ring shape your current path? Because I'm sure you had
Yeah.
to shape yourself into here.
Yeah, I guess so. It's very interesting. I mean, yeah, just like what you said, I used to be a boxer from my late teenage years. I got into boxing. I was kind of like a bit of a unruly child, or constantly getting into trouble. So boxing was something that although I did like boxing, but as a mentor, like who came into my life at a particular time, suggested that, look, instead of hanging out in street corners, getting into trouble and hanging out late and nothing to do kind of thing, why don't you go down to the local boxing club? And I remember he used to give me boxing magazines, and I would take them home and read them, and I was quite inspired by the whole, this was the era of the Mike Tysons and
Mm-hmm.
the Sugar Ray Leonards and stuff like that. So I was really kind of like really inspired by seeing them in the magazine, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to be like them too. The Evander Holyfields and people like that. So I was like, so that kind of like got me started. And I started again, I started my boxing, if you want to say, journey, which was very good because it really disciplined me. That's all I did was boxing. All I did was train. I woke up in the morning. I would have, something to eat, go training, go to the gym. I was in my bed like, 9 o'clock, so I could wake up early again the next morning to go
Nice.
running. So that's all I did. And people around me and my family especially saw that, the huge changes in terms of how that, was affecting my life, and it was affecting it for the positive. I
Right.
wasn't getting into trouble anymore. Then I started having fights. I was winning trophies. I represented the country, England, UK, in international matches. So it got me traveling. So
Nice.
traveling also was very good because, and again, I think it's quite interesting because the traveling, meaning different people from different cultures, different places, experiencing different things, kind of opened up my world again, my worldview to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, right, so certain places or things that I was ignorant about, kind of, made me sort of like overcome certain maybe prejudices or biasness, because, I'd been there and I'd experienced it. And it's like, wow, this is, great experience. So it was really good. And again, on top of it, like I said, it disciplined me also as well. So I then turned professional. And I was having somewhat of a promising career. And at that point, I thought all I was going to do is box.
Right.
Boxing, that's all I knew. That was the language which I spoke. That's all I knew. I didn't know, I wasn't very highly educated in any way. So I didn't have no degree that I could fall back on. That was like, I'm putting my all in this boxing.
Yeah.
But little did I know that the universe had something different for me in
Something
store.
in store for you,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So, and so what happened was I had a fight that I lost. So I lost to a person that I should have, on paper, really, okay, you should have beaten this guy. Fair
Mm,
enough. And then what kind of happened was that my mother passed. So that was like the
mm.
big blow. So my mother passed. And then I also had a fight after that, to which I lost also as well, straight after my mother. So I kind of went through this kind of phase where I was trying to find myself, seeking. So I went on a few travels, went to places like Israel, India, places that I would associate with spiritual
Mm.
things. And it was there where I started to find myself. It was actually a particular person who, I came across, and he's like, oh, do you know your time of birth? And I was like, yeah, no. And so I had a reading, and then it came up in the reading, and he's like, oh, you're meant to be doing something kind of spiritual, something along this line, maybe teaching or doing something, spiritual. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm a boxer. That's I don't know nothing about this stuff. I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm into it. But no, I don't know. I don't know nothing about this stuff. I don't know. And he says, well, you learn it just like everybody else. People.
Right.
You do courses or you sign up, and I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm open. I don't mind that. But I want to know. Tell me in the chart where you see me boxing and becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, where I get loads of money and I get loads of money and I have loads of pretty women following me, that kind of, so I
Yeah,
felt
the
for the
dream, right?
big dream, right? That's what I thought yeah, don't worry, I'm still dreaming about the women following me. I mean, that hasn't
Oh, that's
changed.
hilarious. Oh, you're funny.
Yeah. But so yeah, so that's what. So he was saying like, no, I'm seeing like the chart he showed me, like yeah, sports is there, but like obviously it's not going to be something that you're doing forever, or there's something else much more deeper. So that kind of triggered, and then I also went for. There was a time where I went through a phase of about like 6 months, maybe a year, where I had a number of readings. And from astrology readings to psychic readings to tarot readings to palmistry, and there was a common thread. They all kind of kept saying the same kind of thing in terms
Right.
of what it is that I should be going and direction where should be going towards. And none of it pointed towards perhaps staying in boxing or becoming, or being a boxer kind of thing. So
Right, right.
that kind of like, yeah, it left me a bit like disorientated in a way. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, what's going on. So I battled with it for a long time.
right.
So I still continue to box, of course, because I needed the money and stuff, and just trying to make a living, and so I continued boxing. And again, I sort of like had a few combat fights, which were kind of like, okay, kind of mediocre. He's doing okay, but he should be doing better. But the moment again, it looked like I wanted to step up the competition and take it to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
Bang! It's almost like something would knock me back again, and I'd lose
Mm,
fight. And it was almost like, and the people that I was losing to, it's like, you're a better fighter than these people. You're not supposed to be losing to this kind of this
right.
caliber. So, and that's where what happened was there was a particular year. I think it was in 2002, 2000, round about that time. Yes, 2002, I think it was. I bought this. A friend of mine was, he was very much into IT, computers,
Mm-hmm.
and and he built me a computer. I remember buying a computer. He built it for me. This is when like people were going on the internet and everything like that, and
Yeah.
so it was becoming more popular. So I had this computer at home, and it was coming up to my birthday that year. I think it's 2002. It was 2002, and so I'm on the internet and I'm searching. No, it's 2001 actually. It's not
Oh,
2000. It's
wow.
2001. It's 2001. So I'm there on the internet. I'm surfing, and it was coming up to my birthday, and I saw, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do for my birthday? I was just clicking, kind of like, just going, and then for some reason, I don't know what drove me. Something said put in astrology and tarot. So I just put it in the search bar and I put it in, and the thing came up and it says there was a tarot course
Mm-hmm.
which was being held that weekend of my birthday,
Oh, wow.
and I thought, okay, right, okay, I'm gonna sign up. I'm just gonna go. Right, it was like for the weekend. It was on a Saturday and Sunday. My
Right.
birthday was on that Saturday, and I said, right, I'll treat myself. So I signed up to this tarot course. So I signed up to this tarot course. It wasn't too far from where I was living at the time as well, and I went there, and this tarot course was held by a woman named Liz Green, who is perhaps one of the most famous, one of the biggest names in astrology.
Right.
And she was the one giving the lecture. Her and Juliet Sharman. Her and Juliet Sharman were very close. They were sort of like, co teachers in a sense. And
Okay.
they did this tarot course, and literally blew me away. I was blown away by the fascination of the tarot, and what it showed and how it revealed what was in our unconscious minds. And I was like, whoa, like, and I remember on the second day, she says, yeah, we this, she had a center called the CPA, which is Center of Psychological Astrology. Said, yeah, we do astrology, from beginner's level. So if you want to sign up. And I was like, yeah, I want to sign up. Like, yes, sign me up for this. Like, and I think it was like the following year I signed up for her. I did the beginners, and then there was like a 3 year diploma that you also had to do, and I did that, and that was like the beginning of my journey. 2002, 2003 is where I really started to get into it. That was the beginning of my journey, and I never looked back since. And anything that had the word astrology, tarot, divination, spirituality, any book, and I
Yeah.
signed up, I bought it, I read it, I studied it, and that's all I did. And I just went through basically 2002, 3, 4, 5. That's where, and it was like 2000. It was in 2005. I never forget it. I went into a bookshop in London, in East London. I'm still good friends with the person who owned that bookshop. She no longer has it. Her name's Rosanna. I will call her sister Rosanna. And I went in, and I went in this bookshop, and she said it was secondhand books. So I was
Mm.
looking around, and she had all different kinds of books: astrology, psychology, that kind of stuff. So I'm there looking around, and she also had these. She had these tapes, these like audio tapes of different speakers who were speaking on different topics, spiritual topics and stuff like
Right.
that, and African spirituality and things of that nature, and so I was there looking, and so she's there asking me how you doing, and I'm like, yeah, and she's like, yeah, and she says, she said something along the line. I said, oh, I said these speakers they sound quite good, and she said, yeah. She says, she goes, you're a speaker too. I said, she said, yeah. She goes, you're drawn to this stuff. It means that, you're of that essence, so you should be speaking too. What makes you feel that you're not a speaker too? And
Mm.
I said, well, I've never really thought about it. And she goes, well, I'll book you in. I hold talks here at the back, because she had like a back room. And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, I'll book you in the next couple of weeks, and you come and do a talk on something.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, well, I know a little bit about astrology and numerology and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, come and do your talk. And that was it. That's where I held my first talk.
Oh, wow.
Literally like the week later, it was like a small space. I think there couldn't have been more than maybe 15 people in the room.
That's pretty
And I
good.
did a talk. Yeah, yeah. It was like 15 people. I mean, it was a small space. I mean, it probably could hold maybe about 20, 25, maybe max, if it was really packed.
Mm.
And I remember giving a talk, and it was like, wow, like it just felt so natural. I was like, oh, and then the numbers and astrology and stuff like that, and at this point, I'm still learning astrology also as well. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, but it's coming so natural, and I'm like, wow, like, and I remember like people coming after me like, oh my god, like, how did you know all this stuff? And I'm like, what stuff? I like, it's almost like I felt like I was being channeled. And then the following
Mm.
week, I did another talk, and the room was, and I did
Wow.
a number of talks there, like over a period of maybe about a year, if not more. And the room would be packed. Like it's almost like people would come and want to see Israel. I'm like, what is this stuff?
That is
That kind of, yeah,
amazing.
so
Wow, what a blessing.
that was the journey, and it just started from there. And yeah, and then I just started learning these different methods and approaches to astrology, history of astrology, and I just started attending conferences, and yeah, I'm doing courses, and I did course upon course and course, and here I am.
You've been doing this for what, 22 years now?
Yeah, just over
Nice.
22 years now. It's been one hell of a journey. It's been
That's
yeah.
amazing. So you looking back, was there like a pivotal moment that solidified your path in astrology, tarot, and numerology, or?
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely it happened probably about like maybe about like 16, 17 years ago
Okay.
where it came. I kind of went full time. I remember I went full time with it in 2010.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is when I said like, yeah, okay, this is going to be my full time job. Teaching, seeing clients. I mean, I was seeing clients obviously before, and I was doing other works also as well,
Right.
other little jobs. I still kind of continued from time to time doing other little jobs on the side, stuff like that. So, but my main sort of like thing was astrology. That's what I wanted to push.
Did you
And
let
then
go of the boxing altogether, or will you just once in a while do something,
no, I,
or?
I stopped the boxing completely.
Wow.
I literally like pretty much 2001. Yeah, 2001 was my last hooray, that was it. I believe I had my last fight in 2001, 2002. It might have gone into 2002, but that way you definitely go beyond that. And that was it. It was like the moment I found astrology and it clicked and everything, I forgot. But I totally, I didn't even go nowhere near. I mean, I was still watching. I was like, if there was a big fight on the TV or something, or Mike Tyson
Mm-hmm.
or Mayweather's fighting. Yeah, yeah, of course, I watch it. I still to this day love boxing.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
still love
That's actually
boxing.
one of my favorite sports. I love watching boxing, even
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy,
it's
but
great. Yeah,
I
yeah,
loved it. Even the last Tyson on Netflix special.
yeah, yeah.
I
With
thought it was
Jake Paul. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was great.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Some people were like, oh, why did Tyson just let him? And I'm like, no, it's all part of it. It was all part of it.
exactly,
It's like he's
exactly,
giving his to the next person. Like, here you go. I'm good
exactly,
now. You
exactly,
know, that's
exactly.
all. Yeah.
Exactly, it happens. So yeah, that was so yeah. I'm still into boxing. I still watch boxing. Still love
Nice.
watching the big fights and stuff. But I didn't sort of like go to the. I wasn't training or anything like that, or so yeah. So that's what it was. So I just went straight into astrology. Just went in,
Now, do you have a
head first.
background in psychology as well?
Well, yes and no. What it was is Liz Green, who was which was the first astrology course which I did.
Mm-hmm.
She came from a more kind of psychological. So she had a school. Her school was called the CPA, which was the Center of Psychological Astrology. So her approach to astrology had a astrological, input into
Influence.
it. A strong,
Yeah.
yeah, strong. She was a Jungian psychologist, psychotherapist herself. She
Nice.
studied, so she was very much into like the Carl Jung and the Carl Jung approach of, the psychology and looking at the psyche and the anima and animus and the masculine and feminine aspects of the human psyche and so on. So what it was is she encouraged us when especially when I did the went on to a diploma course. She encouraged us that it's advisable for you guys to go into psychology, counseling also as well. So I went
Right.
through a period of where I trained as a, psychological. I didn't sort of like do it like degree level, but it was a part of my training. It wasn't just like
Yeah. And
astrology,
you
but
have the
it was
studies.
like astrology and psychology. So yes, I have
Beautiful.
got some psychological, studies background. That's definitely a part of that also as well.
That's beautiful.
After I studied with Liz Green, I did another course with a gentleman who's passed now. His name's Robert Zola, and he was known as a medieval traditional approach of astrology. So it was more kind of astrology which was practiced more by the ancient Greeks, Hellenistic period, and during the medieval era also as well. And that
Okay.
astrology was really good because it really sort of like reinforced the astrology which I already learned with Liz Green, but also added to it also as well because it was a bit more kind of predictive orientated, event based orientated, which was really good. So what I now do is I synthesize both systems, both modern psychological contemporary astrology with the medieval traditional astrology, and I
Nice.
fuse both now, and I feel I've got more of a kind of holistic kind of package.
That's pretty cool. Now, do you think, because you're from Yoruba descent, right? From Nigeria heritage?
Yeah, from the Yoruba.
Y-
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
Nice. Did that
yes.
influence your spiritual and astrological practices? Did it have
Yeah,
any influence in that?
most definitely. Yeah, I'm very much into my cultural background's approach and knowledge and information of spirituality. In Nigeria, amongst the Yoruba people, they have spiritual, if you want to say, system or way of life, which is known as Ifa.
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 Is that like shamanism?
Yeah. It's like a whole body of work that it's got philosophy in it. It's got the sacred texts in it. It's got divination in it. It's
Mm,
got science in it. It's got about herbs, about the plants, about animals. It's got all of that all kind of embedded in it.
nice.
So when people who get initiated into the priesthood of Ifa, they have to learn so many different kind of there's so many different levels of things that which they need to learn about, and
Yeah.
essentially they also have their own cosmology and mythology of how the world was created and how the world became as to how it is now, and how just like other mythologies and cosmologies all around the world, we
Right.
find different mythological and cosmological stories, and they have theirs also as well, which is very, very deep and extremely profound. So I'm very much definitely connected with that. And I also, for most of it, I like to make connections, if you want to say, even though I'm more of an astrologer, numerologist in tarot, I still like to make associations
Yeah.
with certain concepts or certain archetypes of the Yoruba philosophy and cosmology, and science and knowledge also as well, and see like, okay, that's very similar to Mars or Pluto
Yeah.
or
A lot of these things
Jupiter.
are
Yeah,
intertwined. Yeah.
exactly. It's very
Yeah.
much interwoven. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah, they are. Because I know
definitely.
when we did our pre-podcast that, you came in and we were having our conversation, all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, have you done shamanism or did you
Right.
tap
Yeah.
into that? Because I could feel that energy and you were like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, because I come from a background of shamanism, santeros
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, la santeria, in Cuba, it's mixed with the African culture and all that. Yeah. Yeah, they're huge in that. Mhm. That's why when you say Ifa, like I understand that because a lot of the paleros and the higher, I guess you could call them shamans,
Yeah,
they
from the
used to use that a
Babalawos,
lot. The
yeah,
babalawos.
exactly, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So it's really,
That's
yeah,
pretty
cross,
cool.
it's worldwide now. So yeah, really
Yeah,
big
yeah.
also in places like Brazil and South America and
Hmm.
stuff like that as well. Those practices are very, very powerful indeed. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're amazing. I'm
yeah.
actually I'm thinking in the future I'm being called for that because my husband's always looking at me and he's like, you're a very, very powerful shaman, right? Look at yourself in the mirror. You're a very powerful shaman. And I'm like,
He knows
man,
the
that's a huge
power. He knows the power, right? He
you know,
sees the power.
power. And I'm like, well, man, that comes with a lot of responsibility because I was supposed to be initiated into shamanism since I was very young,
Oh,
and I
young,
just didn't
right,
want to. I was so like, I can't commit to this thing, I really
right,
can't do this 100%. So for me, it was like, if I can't commit into it, I'm not doing it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
I wasn't ready. It was
I get you. I get
a
you. I
different
get you.
way. Now
Yeah.
it's different for me. Now I'm
It's
like,
just
okay, I'm
coming. Yeah,
ready.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
starting
yeah,
to
yeah.
come.
Exactly, exactly. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, man. It's the way it
All
is.
the time.
Because it's a lot of responsibility, and it's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of, you're doing a lot of rituals, and you're really opening yourself. So it's not like it's not light work.
No.
There's a lot of duty and a lot of responsibility and a lot of info and things that you've got to commit to also as
Yeah.
well by going into that world.
Yeah, and
It's
I
not
also
for the
found that
lighthearted.
there's so many different different shamanisms, like Santeria. There's so many different
Yes,
I guess I don't know, want to say levels, but depending what culture you're from,
from
because
exactly.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
know
because I know
like
you have the Palo Mayombe and all that, right?
yeah, there's
And the
all kinds
Blair
of
in
different
Brazil.
ones.
Right, yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
the
I
one
mean,
that
there are levels. Yeah, for sure.
the
Yeah,
one that I was raised in is basically like if you're gonna become a shaman, become a santero, you have to like shave your head and you have to dress in white
that's
for a
right.
whole year, and
Yeah,
then you have to
right.
kind of sleep
That's
on the
right.
floor for I don't know how long, and you have to sleep in the room where all your santos are at, and all these things. And then I
Exactly.
found that there's other shamans, other like shaman cultures that it's not like that. It's less time. You don't really have to shave your head. You don't have to always dress in
Right.
white.
Yes.
And I'm just
Yes.
like fascinating. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do
Yeah.
that whole year of, dressing in white and shaving
Yeah,
my
yeah.
head.
It's very, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's where
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need to
yeah.
tap into
Yeah, yeah.
which
But
way
in the
I want to
Yoruba,
go.
it's very much like that. When you get initiated, they shave your head. So that's
Really?
very common. Yeah, yeah, male or female, they have what's known as the bodu. So
Mm,
you enter the bodu, and once they do that, they shave your head. So it's a place, and then they also as well they read you like your do's and don'ts. So
mm,
depending on which odu is, for each person there will be a particular. They will divine for you. The priest will divine for you, and there will be a particular odu, and each
mm,
odu has its do's and don'ts. So everybody's odu is going to be different. So my odu may say that, okay, I'm not allowed to wear this color, or I'm not allowed to eat this or eat that. So I have
right.
do's and don'ts, which I like. So they're known as ewo. Ewo means
Okay, well,
it was like a it's like a do and don't, or like a warning of, or that you need to be aware of in terms of,
Right.
that, that's your kind of, your it was that you're not to. So you meet some people and they say, oh, I can't eat that, or I'm not allowed to eat chicken, or I'm not allowed to. So for some people, for the average mind, it's like, well, that doesn't make no
What
sense.
is that?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, well, why can't you eat chicken? That kind of thing is like, no, there's something perhaps maybe in the chicken, or that's connected with the chicken, that is not in alignment with my life path or my direction where I should be going. So it's very, very detailed
Right.
in terms of, and very specific also as well. Sometimes it can be like, oh, you can't marry a tall woman, or you can't marry, like, sometimes it's like that, like
Yeah.
specific. Yeah,
That's
like,
specific.
you can't
Wow.
be or you can't go with a short man, or you can't go with a man that's thing, or you can't go with a dark man. It's got to be light, or it's got to be. It's like so many, like, yeah, so many, like,
That
oh
is
my god.
crazy.
Like sometimes it's like very, like, detailed, very specific in
Wow.
terms of like the do's and don'ts. So it's
And
like, yeah.
that's beautiful. Some people would see that as, oh my God, so many restrictions and so many this, but I love culture, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
want to like respect the cultures, and just know that there's always something in every
Exactly.
culture. There's always
Exactly.
something,
Exactly.
whatever resonates with
Exactly.
you, take that. If it doesn't, let
Exactly.
it go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So
it's,
we're gonna dive in now into more of this astrology and tarot
right.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
numerology, because I could talk about shamanism all day
Oh
too.
no,
So
right, of course we could be all day,
I love
right?
my woo woo stuff. I'm all
We're in
about
that
woo
zone.
woo. But okay, let's go into, let me see. Many people view astrology as purely entertainment, while others believe it holds deep wisdom. How would you define astrology true purpose? Like, what is the meaning of astrology, and what does it do for us? What does
Yes.
it tell us?
Yeah. Well, astrology, in the most simple terms I can put it, it's the study and the science of time. Our ancestors, or if we want to say early man, regardless of what our approach or belief is as to how humanity has developed to the stage where it is now, one thing is for sure is that our ancestors or early man, the first thing that they would have come into contact with or interacted with or noticed was the rising and the setting of the sun. Astrology is the oldest science to humanity. It's the rising and the setting of the sun. It's the new and culminating and the full moons and new moons of the cycles. Our calendars are based off this. Time is based off this. Time around the world is based on the position of the sun. So our ancient ancestors were well aware that the stars in the heavens, the planets in our solar system, when they were in certain positions, they had a direct correspondence or correlation with earthly affairs. So if we take like the moon, for example, they notice that every time there's a full moon, there's a high tide. When there's a new moon, there's low tides. When there's a full moon, there's more activity in terms of what happens down here on earth. Emotions are running high. People become more emotional. You get the animals responding, howling at the, like wolves howling at the moon. This is all where this comes from. We become more instinctual. We become more sensitive. We become more triggered when there is a full moon. For
Right.
example, oysters open up every time there's a full moon. They even
I
done a
didn't know that.
scientific test. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Wow.
even did a scientific test where they noticed that every 28 days they took a bunch of oysters and they took them into a lab, and they were even downstairs inside the lab. But when it came to the full moon, they still opened up.
Wow.
This is when they opened up. So they correspond with the cycles of the moon. There's also been studies and scientific tests shown that there is more activity with police, hospitals, when there is a full moon. Insane asylums, there's people again have noticed like that work in insane asylums, so that they've noticed that when there is a full moon, people in the insane asylums, they just go more. This is where the whole idea of lunatic comes from, because it comes from the word luna, which is the moon, right?
Yes.
So you're, in tune with the moon. So we've noticed that there are direct correlations, and just like with the sun as well, the sun gives us the seasons, the spring, the summer, the autumn, the winter periods. When it's cooler, so certain crops are harvested or planted at certain times. So everything is all about time. So they've noticed that the planets, or the two, if you want to take just the sun and moon, that there's direct influence in terms of human affairs down here on Earth, right? So through that, over time, they've also noticed that when Mars is in a particular position in the sky, Venus is in a position, things happen.
Yeah.
They notice that kings, queens, great people, influential people are born at particular times when there are certain planetary alignments, right? All kings and queens are all seem to be born with prominent planets in their chart or in a prominent place in the heavens at that moment of birth. This signifies something. So through that, science has now developed a whole body of work. Astrology, essentially, the purpose of it is that we can use it to understand our life's journey. Astrology, what is known as a horoscope or a natal chart, a birth chart, a natal chart, which is the positions of the planets, where the 10 planets were in the heavens, in our solar system, where they were at that moment of our birth. Show us our personality, the personality traits which are readily accessible to us, our strengths, our weaknesses, and it acts like a sat nav, like a personal guide, a personal map that we can use to better to enhance and to live a more fulfilled life. That is the base. That is the purpose why it's to be able to live a more holistic, a more fulfilled life, so we can be more happy. Everybody encounters difficulties, regardless of how successful we want to say we are or we're not. Everybody's going to encounter difficulties, but astrology can shed light on those difficulties, where those difficulties are coming from, and how best we may take them on board. Why is it that they're happening? Very often we get stuck into particular, we're like that hamster on the wheel. We get stuck in certain themes.
Oh, yeah.
We often get caught up in the same thing happening for us. Why is this happening? Okay, astrology can point why, well, this is happening because of this, and this. How about you take this approach? It's still going to be challenging. It still may be difficult, but it allows us to be able to live a more happier, a more fulfilled life. So it's about that journey of the soul. It's based on the idea that each one of us has a soul. We're all on a journey, and that journey is going to have its trials and tribulations. We're going to encounter mountains, obstacles, challenges. So, and we're going to encounter happy times also as well. So how can we make the best of what we've got with those cards that we've been dealt with? We cannot change the cards that we've been dealt with, but we do have a choice and an option and an insight of how to utilize them better so we live a better life. And that's what astrology is about. Study of time, which allows us to understand who we are, because we are a part of time and a part of nature as well.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. So now that we went into that whole beautiful explanation, I think you have something prepared for me.
Yes. I've got my astrology software here all open. So we just need to just put your details in there. Did you send me your details? Did you?
Give you my details.
Did you? I don't know.
You're such a busy man, aren't you?
I know. I need to find that. I need to open that and find where the hell.
Oh, you're in trouble now.
Yeah, I know, right? Tell me about it.
No, you're good. You're good. I should have sent you a little reminder. Knowing me,
I know. I've got it. I just need to.
I know you put it. I know you wrote it down. I know that for sure because we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just need to find. I don't think it's here. Hold on. No, that's not it. No, you're gonna have to tell me that again.
Okay, what do you need from me? Come on, let's go.
Okay, let's go. So
you want my full name?
Yeah, just to, no, I just need date of birth.
January 6, 1978.
That's it. 19.
I don't remember that time. I know it was at nighttime. It was late. My
so
father couldn't remember, so I'm like,
like 10 or something, like.
Like at 10 at night. I want to say before midnight.
Oh, before midnight.
Yeah, it was before midnight. Anytime, he said between probably 7 at night and midnight, somewhere around there.
7 at night and midnight.
I get about 7:20, and sometimes I'll get like maybe 10 something. So it's like I've been trying to like kind of tap into it.
Tap into it, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm there. I'm like somewhere between 7 and 10:30 maybe.
And you born in Miami?
I was born in Cuba, Havana, Cuba.
Okay.
Havana.
Havana, Cuba.
Don't ask me what floor, because I always say the penthouse. Not kidding. It's a joke.
So, Havana. Why is he coming up with stuff places in America? Hold on. Let's see.
Is that your kitty cat? He's trying to tell you something.
Yeah, I know. He's causing trouble. He wants to get Cuba. I've got it. Yeah. So I've got your I've got your birth chart all ready, man. All there. So do you want me to share it? Do you want me
Yeah, go
to
ahead. I'm good with that. And
let's bring it up.
give a little example to the audience too, so they could get, get more of an
Um
idea of how all this works.
okay. So here we go. Can you see that? Yeah.
Can't see it very well, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I can't see it on my end, but I'm sure when we put it in the video, you'll be able to
Okay,
see it.
you'll be able to see. Yeah, it should be there on the screen.
Okay.
So yeah, so okay, Sun in Capricorn. So yeah, Sun in Capricorn. I mean, Capricorn is zodiac sign ruled by the planet Saturn. It's very earthy, very practical, very down to earth. It's also what's known as a cardinal sign as well. So for those people who have Sun in Capricorn, they are constantly always initiating, constantly creating. But with Capricorn, because it's ruled by the planet Saturn, it has a very strong sense of tradition that is like inherently connected to it. Capricorn is, the animal which represents the Capricorn is the mountain goat. So there's something about like, you know, the mountain goat is a very fascinating animal. It seems to start at the bottom, of its journey and just gradually just works its way up. So there's something about this gradual building or gradual process or gradual growth, which the Capricorn seems to seek throughout their life. It's also your sun sign. And in astrology, your sun sign is who you are becoming. So our sun sign is something that we're constantly working on, constantly developing, constantly wanting to, better in our life. It's almost like it's a mission that we're trying to. So your mission in life is to become a better, more evolved Capricorn. That is how the sun in Capricorn essentially is. So it's very structured, very traditional, like I said, and they can start at the low end, but they will work their way up. This is why Capricorn is always connected with hard work, ambition. They're very shrewd, they're very tough, kind of people. Very serious kind of people also as well. They're very practical and very methodical, approaches towards life because that's that Saturn kind of energy. With Capricorns as well, there's something about respect. They want that respect. They want to be respected. You see, Capricorn is a zodiac sign that is interested in long-term goals. Having that strong foundation, strong structure in life is what Capricorn essentially is about. So that's, a great zodiac sign essentially to have. I always noticed that you've also got a Venus Sun conjunction. This is the planet, this is the Sun here, and this is the Venus here as well. So you have what's known as a Venus Sun conjunction. Now, Venus is to do with beauty, Venus is to do with charm, Venus is to do with our association, pleasure, how we are connected. When people have the Sun Venus in the chart, very often they will often have an artistic ability. There will be something about them, and they are very refined, very charming in some kind of way. They will often be very good looking, very beautiful, very attractive, because Venus is the planet of attractiveness. And if it's connected with your sun, it's often a strong indication that there is something about you that you have the power to attract. And when we talk about attract, you have the ability to attract pleasant things, pleasant people, being pleasant surroundings, there's also a kind of diplomatic, a quite graceful kind of energy also with Sun, Venus also as well. It's often found in charts of people who are connected. They often have a very strong aesthetic or strong sometimes a strong connection maybe with the arts or maybe fashion or music or singing or dancing or anything that can bring about a strong beautiful element about them. That is where we will get a sun Venus. There's often also something perhaps maybe about the father also as well, because the sun represents the father. Sometimes it's often the person can be sometimes the favorite child of the father, or there's a lot of love or a sense of appreciation in and around father with Venus, Sun also as well. So you also have this in the chart too. So that's really good to have. Your moon sign is in Sagittarius. Now, the moon is to do with your emotions, where you feel emotionally secure, how you express your emotions. That is what the moon essentially is about. And you have the moon in Sagittarius. So the moon in Sagittarius indicates somebody who's kind of always on the move and can be a little bit restless. Sagittarius is a very volatile kind of sign. It's here, there, and everywhere. It's ceaseless movement. It's very adventurous. So when the moon is there, it can be somebody who's like really. Now it's interesting because you've got this moon in Sagittarius, but your sun sign is in Capricorn. Now those two signs don't really. So again, you've got the sun in Capricorn, which is going to be more like your earthy, methodical, down to earth, serious, structured, get to work kind of side. And then you've got this moon, which is in Sagittarius, which really wants adventure, which really wants to, go places, and it's restless and it's volatile and it's going one direction 1 minute and going the next, going another direction the next. So there's gonna be a part of you that's caught up with this. Where you want to stay put, you want to stay stable, you want to be hardworking, but at the same time, you want this excitement and this adventure also as well. So sometimes that can be quite, difficult to navigate with. But that again, that's a part of your chart. And you're born in the evening when the sun was set, so you're more gonna be more kind of responded to that moon because the moon is more stronger in the nighttime chart. So the moon will probably have a more of a say, so to speak, kind of thing. You've also got Mercury in Sagittarius also as well. Mercury in Sagittarius is somebody who's interested in a lot of different things, somebody who's very open-minded, thinks very big. Need to be careful though, because Mercury in Sagittarius can be somebody who has got a lot of different interests. Interested in this, I'm interested in that, I want to do this, I want to do that. That is like Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury in Sagittarius also can be very direct, very blunt, because Mercury is to do with communication, how we speak, how we talk, how we take in information. He's our interpreter. So Mercury in Sagittarius can indicate like somebody who's very blunt, who says it as they see it, that kind of thing. It's quite interesting as well because you've got a Mercury Jupiter opposition also in your chart as well, because you've got Jupiter also. So that's so this is somebody who really thinks big, somebody who's got many ideas, somebody who's talkative, somebody who's very good at expressing themselves, very direct, you know, interested in lots of different subjects, topics, somebody who's got a very philosophical mind, open mind, thinking about different things. But the downfall of that is sometimes you may have so many interests that you spread yourself thin. And you want to know a little bit about that, a little bit, and then you're jumping from one thing to another. And, you're covering lots of different grounds on lots of different subjects. So you could overextend yourself mentally in some kind of way. And that's how that Mercury Jupiter essentially. But there's a reception there. So that's definitely very, very helpful also as well. I also noticed that you've also got your Mercury is also in alignment known as a trine also to Saturn. That's also very good too. That can be somebody who's very structured in their thinking. So that will be helpful. The Saturn to your Mercury is something that definitely will ground you in some kind of ways. Your thought processes will, it will allow you to be very logical, rational thinker, somebody who's down to earth, somebody who can really sort of like be very focused, because sometimes Mercury in Sagittarius can be a little bit all over the place. So the Saturn will definitely ground you in many, many ways. So, yeah. And you've got the Saturn there again in the first house. Again, so there's something there about authority. There's something there about respect. There's something about structure. There's like a seriousness there to you. Also, as well with Saturn in your ascendant, it could also, you're going to be somebody who kind of like, there's going to be like a maturity about you. Like even as a young child, with people with Saturn in the first house, they can come across like older than they are. They're just more mature than they are. They're very good with elderly people, sometimes maybe with grandparents or people who are older. There's a strong affinity and connection with them. So that's how that Saturn essentially is. Your Saturn's retrograde, okay, fine. So that can indicate being a bit of a late developer in life, so that's fine, that's cool. Things coming more later in life than earlier in life. But again, you have that tenacity and that ability to somewhat work hard. You've also got Mars also in Leo as well. Mars is also retrograde also as well. Mars is a planet that is to do with how we are brave, how we take on challenges. When Mars is retrograde in the chart, also in the sign of Leo, it can indicate somebody who's a bit like who doesn't necessarily tackle things like head on. You're a bit more kind of okay. Let's see where this is going. You look at where things. You're not going to just jump in straight because Mars is a planet which is very impatient. He wants action. He's all about that potency. But Mars, especially retrograde Mars, can be a little bit more reserved in some ways, and these people tend to maybe think before they, act on certain things and stuff like that. They can be also quite laid back also as well because Mars is a very impulsive, impatient planet, wants action now. But, Mars retrograde is like, okay, somebody's a bit more kind of relaxed and a bit more laid back and not so sort of like in your face kind of thing. So that's how that Mars, essentially is. It can be very good for maybe doing more relaxed kind of maybe sports or activities like yoga and stuff like that. That is how the Mars, that Mars, essentially, is is in your chart. So that's like a little brief kind of introduction of how your
That's
chart
pretty
essentially
cool.
is. But yeah, no, you got some real cool
That
stuff
was
there.
straight on point. That was straight
Yeah.
on point. And you know what was funny is that my dad is Leo, my mother's Sagittarius. I
Wow.
don't know if
Yeah.
that has anything to do with anything, but
Yeah.
it is just so weird
Yeah.
because they're both.
It definitely has a lot to do with it. It's quite interesting because the planet which represents the father in the chart is your sun, but it's in Capricorn. But Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and your Saturn's in Leo. You also have Leo
Wow.
rising also as well. So that also, it's very common that the rising sign of the child will often correspond with either the sun sign of the mother or the father. That is
Mhm.
very, very common.
Wow.
So they, and then your moon is also in Sagittarius also as well. And like you said, your mom's a Sagittarius too. So
Yeah.
your mother was more likely maybe a bit more of a, maybe kind of a free spirited person. Maybe
Hmm.
your mother who was, very much, there could have been a little bit of volatility there, but, she's a bit up and down and here, there, and everywhere. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, the need for freedom, Sagittarius likes its freedom, it likes its movement. It can be a little bit wild, but it's
Yeah.
adventurous, it's exciting also at the same time as well. So yeah, that is Moon in
That's
Sagittarius.
funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. Now, in this chart, there's no numerology here because that's one thing that I
Yeah.
wanted to kind
No,
of
so numerology is something different. Yeah.
different. Okay.
Numerology is something different. So the objective of numerology is to add up the date of birth. And there's also ways in also how you break down the date of birth also as well. So you're born on the 6th. So that has a particular influence in your life. So the day in which you're born indicates like the kind of talents which you have and the kind of things that your strengths also as well. Whereas the month also as well will mean something too. So you are born on the 6th of January. So we would add 6 January is the first month, 01 and 1978, and we would add all that up to get to a number. So when we add up 6 of January 1978 altogether, we get the number 5. So
Okay.
number 5 now is now known as your life path number. That's known as
Okay.
your life path number. So that number is a number that's going to resonate with you throughout the rest of your life. So people who are number 5 people, they're very fast, they're very dynamic, they're very energetic, they like to do different things, they're very adventurous, very freedom loving, they're very versatile, so they can adapt very well. They're very flexible. They're very curious about things. They're very social orientated as well, quick thinking, quick witted. They love to have fun. This is how number 5 people are. 5 people can be very good entrepreneurs also as well. 5 is the number of Mercury. So hence why you're doing what you're doing, because Mercury is to do with talk. right? It's to do
Yeah.
with communication. It's to do with quick wittiness and stuff like that. So yeah, five's also of quite entrepreneurial too. It's very good for them to go into different businesses,
Hmm.
very witty and stuff like that. So that's how number fives essentially, are connected. So it's a good it's a good number, very versatile. The only thing though with the number fives is that sometimes they can spread themselves a little bit too thin. They're little bit all over the place, so they can be a little bit disorganized. Maybe sometimes a little bit too like adventurous and stuff like that. They can be very playful also as well. Sometimes they kind of have this kind of like a little bit of childish kind of energy about them. So that is also the number five too. So that is like your life path number. So
Wow.
number five is your number, which will always do. But you are born on the 6th of January, and the 6th again is connected with Venus. And it's interesting because you have a Sun Venus conjunction also in your chart as well. So Venus is actually quite a prominent planet for you. But Venus again is connected with beauty. Number six people, they need to they are often very good at arts. There's often something artistic about them, but they're very good at dealing with clients or customers or dealing with people on a one-to-one level. This is what they're about. Number six people are also very good for anything connected with the home. They bring like some kind of peace or balance to the home. Six is also about balance also as well. They're very caring, and they do very good in caring environments or caring professions sometimes also as well, and can do very good in artistic. They can be very nurturing and often are connected with a sense of being able to nurture for other people. So that is also number six people also as well. So this is like a gift which you have, and that is your numerology. So it's quite
Thank
quite
you.
quite 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 nice. Yeah.
That's beautiful because that's
Yeah.
all right on point. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
That is
Numerology is
really good.
it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It
It's
is.
powerful stuff.
I was listening to I don't know what it was the other day, and I think their number, and it's very odd to have a double digit number, and their number was a 33, meaning that's Christ consciousness.
That's right. Yeah, because so in the Pythagorean, because there's different numerology approaches. So in the Pythagorean system, they have what's known as the double digits. So if people's numbers add up to like 11, 22, 33, so it's almost like it's still, because the objective of numerology is you add up until you get to a single digit. But if you get the double numbers, all what is the double numbers is it's the same as the single number, but it's like times two. So it's like
Mm.
raised. It's got like a raised vibration to it. So it's
Right.
very very powerful in that sense. So it's
Nice.
almost like that number's kind of like on steroids. It's a raised vibration. So 33 is you at Christ. That's why with Jesus Christ, he died at the age of 33. You get 33 brains in the vertebra, in the spine also as well. To do with the Kundalini, with the Christ consciousness rising. So this is where the
Mhm.
number 33 essentially comes in. So 33 is like a really big number. It's a number also that is often used also in masonry as well. So the Freemasons used it also as well. So it's a very, very big number. So people who have that, they have, so people who are number 33, it means that there's going to be a lot of self-sacrificing that they're going to have to do, right? They've come here to come and teach compassion, to come and teach love, which is what the whole Christ consciousness or what Jesus Christ came to teach about love, compassion for other people, because it's like 3 3, if you add it up, it's the number six. So
Yeah.
it's like a number six but on a higher level. That's why number six people have good compassion, and they're caring for other people, and that kind of thing, and the sense of family or keep things here. It's very very good. So people who are 33s, it's almost like they have to do what number six people are doing, but on a more higher level, on a
Wow.
more worldwide level, on a more collective level. They have to do that. So they're raising the bar to that next level. That's how a number
Wow.
33 are. Yeah, it's a very powerful
Thank
number
you,
indeed.
thank you for that. Because I've been very curious about that. I know, 33 has always been like this number that to me it's powerful, but I never knew
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
And now
yeah,
you gave me the why, and that is amazing. Thank you for
yeah.
that. Thank you for that.
Exceptionally powerful. Exceptionally
No, I,
powerful.
I appreciate you going through this little process because
Yeah,
this has
yeah,
pretty
no
much,
problem.
we've gone through all pretty much almost all the questions
Yeah, no, no, no.
in
It
just
is
this
what it
little
is. Yeah.
demonstration. So this is amazing. Yeah, cool. All right. So you mentioned astrology's connection to religion, politics, and culture. Can you share
Yeah.
examples of how astrology has historically influenced these areas?
Yeah, most definitely. Astrology, like I said, is the study of time and the knowledge of time. And all religions, for example, they have particular special festivals
Mm-hmm.
and celebrations, acknowledgement. So, for example, this on the 28th of February, we're going to have a new moon. And this new
Mm-hmm.
moon is going to spark the beginning of the month, of the holy month for the people of the Islamic faith, Ramadan.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they are always using the moon, right? In order to time their cycles. If you go to Christianity, so for example, the Christians in around the time of March or April every year, they have the celebration known as Easter. Now, Easter is not on the same day every year, right? It's not on the same day every year. It changes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
never kind of ask. It's almost like nobody's asking why. Well, why is that? Sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in April, sometimes it's in the last week of March, middle of March, beginning of April. Why is it that it's not on the same day? Why? Because what happens with Easter, the Good Friday, which they speak about, is essentially it comes after the first Friday, which follows the full moon
Mm.
after the spring equinox
Okay.
is going to be Good Friday. So it's all
Oh,
astrological. You need an astrologer who's going to be able to draw that up for you, who's going to be saying, right, there's a full moon or there's a new moon here. So this is the next, after the autumn equinox, this is, going to be your Easter. So it's all based on astrological. If you go amongst the Jewish religion, for
mm,
example, they have Rosh Hashanah. They have the new year, which is roughly in like September, end of September, beginning of October. And again, they are using the autumn equinox also as well. So they use the first weekend after the autumn equinox, after the new moon in Libra, the following one is what.
wow.
So all of these religions are using either new moons or full moons. If you go amongst also the Hindu culture, they really have astrology embedded up in their, Diwali, for example, is also to do with the Chinese New Year. Is coincides with the lunar calendar. The Chinese New Year is always when the new moon in Aquarius. Again, that's why if you notice, the Chinese New Year always starts at, sometimes it's at the end of January, sometimes it's at the beginning of February the
Mm,
moment the sun moves into Aquarius. So the new moon in Aquarius is what marks. So over the years, the religions have taken on these astrological concepts, which you can find or you can trace back that they're all connected with astrology. Because
mm-hmm,
in the ancient days, before all of these religions, and I'm not having a go at any of these religions, but before they came about, again, our ancestors was using astrology and as timers and markers, winter solstices, summer solstices, equinoxes, and they were
yeah.
using this. The pyramids, for example, Stonehenge, all of the pyramids in South, this is why they were all in alignment with star constellations because they use these different star constellations and different motions of the sun and the moon
Mm,
in order to pay reverence to the creator, to God.
right.
And
That's why
religion came
this
along and built
May,
on that.
yeah,
Yes.
that's why this May there's a group of people going down to Egypt because there's something happening. There's a big shift already happening. And
Right.
come April and May, there's this big thing. That's why they're saying like you're gonna see a lot of like energies being heightened. You're gonna be feeding into
Right.
certain things.
Right.
Just be aware. Don't feed into those negative energies.
Right.
Just kind of
Yeah.
be aware of these things because there's a lot happening this year. 2025, from
Right.
my understanding, is the year of transformation. Things are being
Yeah.
transformed, are being
That's right.
changed, are being
Yeah.
shifted. The earth is shifting, everything's shifting. So it has all to do with pretty much astrology and all that.
Exactly. And even numerology, when we look at the year 2025, it adds up to the number 9. Now,
Mm,
in numerology, because every year we go through a number, So 2025, which is the year which we're in, adds up to a number 9. In
Okay.
numerology, 9 is the highest number because anything after 9 is a double digit. And again, the aim in numerology is you keep adding until you get to a single digit. So the real true numbers are 1 to 9. And
Okay.
9 is known as a very sacred number because it's the last number. So it's to do with completion. It's to do with
Mm.
endings, which sets us up for new beginning. So 2026
Ooh,
next year is going to be a way there's a number 1, which is going to indicate new beginnings. So this year is a year where we get lots of conflict and strife because everything wants to finalize. It needs to transform to go to the next level. This
mm.
is why number 9 it was always seen as sacred. This is why the ancient Babylonians saw the number 9 as the number of God. Why? If you multiply any number by the number 9, it comes back to 9. You never lose the number 9. If you 9 times 2, 18. 1 plus 8, 9. 9 times 4, 36. 3 plus 6 is 9. If you multiply any number
Wow.
by 9 and you add it up, it equals 9. It's a very powerful
That is
thing.
just, that's
Yeah,
extraordinary. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
Only
pretty
the number
cool.
9 does it. There's no other number that does it. Only the number 9 that does it. It's the highest
Hmm.
number. It's the number of God. So you never lose the
Beautiful.
number 9. 9 is a very powerful number. So this is the year which we're in right now. It's the number of God. It's the number of power, change, transformation, end of the old, in with the new. This is what the number 9 essentially is about. So we're in a 2025 year, a number 9 year, so we can expect, those kind of things to kind of,
Nice.
be happening and manifesting for us. So we're in powerful times right now.
Nice. Yeah, I know there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world,
Yeah,
and it's sad, and my heart
yeah,
goes out to, all the people in Asheville and California
yeah,
that things have been happening since the end of
yeah,
last year
exactly.
towards
Yeah,
now. But it's
right.
all part of this shift, all part of the,
Yeah, exactly,
transforming
exactly,
and,
exactly.
obviously
Yeah,
other stuff that have to do with that too, but
yeah,
we're not going to get into all that.
yeah. Of course, of course. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah, most
Now,
definitely.
how does astrology, tarot, and numerology complement each other in providing guidance and insights? I know you gave a little
Yeah,
bit insight in you reading my
yeah.
chart, but kind of tell the audience how do they complement each other?
Yeah, they complement each other very well. Okay, with astrology, for example, we are using numbers. For example, we have 12 signs of the zodiac. In astrology, we have the 12 houses, we have the 10 planets. So, and we are using numbers also to calculate the different degrees. A 360-degree circle, which is the circumference, equals the whole 12 signs of the zodiac. So, numerology does and is connected, is infused, and also with numbers as well. Each number is also associated or connected with a various planet because each number has a particular archetype. It has a particular energy pattern. So what happens with we are able to merge the, if you want to say, the correlation of the energy of the planets to each one of the numbers also as well. So they support each other both very well. It's not a perfect fit because they are, different disciplines, we could say, but they definitely complement each other extremely very, very well. And there are ways how we have merged the meaning of the planets or understanding the archetype or the energy of the planets and how they resonate with particular numbers also as well. So that's why you hear so like I say, number 9, for example, is often attributed to the planet Mars. So it has a kind of martial kind of energy. Number 1 has a solar energy. Number 2 has a lunar energy. Number 3 has a Jupiterian energy. So we're able to connect and align and correlate the number of the planet, the numbers, with the various planets and vice versa. So they complement each other very well. When we come
Nice.
to the tarot, we get the same thing. So the tarot is essentially, so I've got like tarot cards here, for example, which is a pack of 78 cards, right?
Nice.
And
Oh,
they have, different images on them. And each image describes a particular pattern. It tells a story. So when people go for a tarot card reading, and whether it's the tarot card that shuffles the deck and you pick a tarot card and the tarot card comes out, that card is going to reflect the purpose or the question as to why you have come to consult the tarot. So this is, this is what it's about.
You're in trouble now because you're gonna have to give me a tarot real
Yeah,
quick.
no, no, we can pull out a few cards. That's okay.
You're gonna give me a tarot, and you know what? It's funny because I do my I haven't done them in a while, but I do my little oracle cards.
Yeah.
I have little oracle cards here.
Right, right. Oh, okay. Those are nice. Those are nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You can actually paint them.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. You can. Right. Okay. Yeah, I see them.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you can
That's
paint them.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Those are really good. So so with the tarot, like I said, there's 78. They're split into two different types. So we have what's known as the major arcana and the minor arcana. And the major arcana consists of 22 cards, and we have the minor arcana, which is 56. And the minor arcana as well, there's four different suits. So we have the wands, we have the swords, we have the cups, we have the pentacles. So each one represents a particular kind of archetype. And again, so numbers, each card is numbered also as well. So we also see, like with each number of the card, that number, again, the essence of that number, the energy behind that number, the archetype of that number correlates to also the meaning of that card, or adds to the meaning of that card also as well. So when we're reading for people, we say, oh, well, this is number 6. It's meaning this or it's meaning that as well. So numerology also and astrology as well, which each card, we've noticed that each card correlates to one of the archetypes or energies of the planets as well. So we're able to also see that each card is, so there's a card that has an Aries energy or a Taurus energy or a Mars energy or Jupiter energy or a moon energy also as well. So we're able to also correlate the astrological significance of the planets or the zodiac signs also in each one of the cards also as well. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I never knew all that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they were all.
So they're all connected. They're all brother and sister. They're all interwoven in some way, because we're talking about, at bottom line, what it comes down to is an energy. It's an archetype, right? So once we recognize an energy, once we know that, well, this is a fiery energy or this is this kind of energy, we're able to see the nature of that in the cards or in the chart or through the numbers. Either way, the universe is speaking to us. What divination is, regardless of what divination one is using, it's a way of communicating with the universe. It's the way the universe speaks to us and is showing us and guiding us through whichever means we choose to communicate with the universe with. So the universe will use anything and can use anything in order to get the message across. So whether you're using tarot, numerology, astrology, palmistry, anything, any form of divination, geomancy, dice, there's some oracle cards, the universe is communicating with you and getting that message through to you through whichever means or tools or method that you are using. So yeah.
Nice. So what is your card telling me? I just need one card.
Okay, yeah, let's pick out a card for you, and just gonna give a good shuffle here. So I'm just gonna spread it here, so we get it here, and I'll pick this card. What we got? What we got?
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so you got the Three of Wands.
Okay.
So what the Three of Wands actually indicates is it's a very good card. It's a 3. 3 is connected with the planet Jupiter, so it's about expansion. So this card is about growth. But this card, the Three of Wands, what it indicates is like there's something which you're perhaps waiting for. You're waiting for something, you're waiting for someone maybe also as well. It's very likely that this card could be connected with somebody abroad or overseas, or somebody from a far place, or something from a far place, coming from a far place. But you're waiting here. You're waiting for your ships to dock. It's almost like you're looking over the horizon for your ships to dock here. So you're awaiting something. But this card is also indicating like you're making connections, you're making alliances, you're connecting with people, things, places in order to like expand what you want to do. This is a card about expansion. And this is why it's indicating like you're waiting on something. So you're waiting on something so that you can expand. You want to make alliances. You want to collaborate perhaps with people, connect with people from maybe overseas, maybe like what we're doing right now. It can be business, it can be friendship, it can be networking. This is what this card essentially is about. So it's actually a good card. It's
Yeah.
indicating your ship's docking, and it's indicating like, yeah, you're in a particular place of growth. Yeah, you
Yes.
can see here,
Yes.
the fertility, the growth aspect of what these cards essentially is about. This card is
Wow.
also about being in a place of stability. Three is about stability. Three gives stability. So this is why in the olden days, the chairs that the farmers or the maid used to milk the cow that they used to sit on was a three wooden chair, because three is stable. You see, if you have a
Mm,
three-legged chair, you can't fall off. It's literally impossible. You can fall off a four if you think, but you can't do it with a three. So three really gives that stability. It actually is quite solid. So
that's
that
pretty
is also
cool.
what the three is also about. Like, you're in a place of stability, you're in a place where you can grow, where you can expand, where you can connect, where you can collaborate. And again, like I said, either something or someone is definitely coming to you. This card can also indicate like maybe you're waiting for a response. Maybe you've put in for an offer, you've asked for something, and you're waiting for it. Okay, when is it coming? When am I getting it? That kind of thing. But either way, it's
Mm,
indicating that it is coming and it's going to bring about some growth. So that's what this card
wow.
essentially is
Thank
about. So
you.
yeah.
That is so on
So
point.
yeah.
Oh my God. That's exactly where I'm at. I am stable. I have stability, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm in growth. I mean, I've been in growth forever, but that
Yeah.
this the years it's really really like
Yeah. So Three of Wands is a real good card. It's a very good card.
yeah,
It's a
nice.
very
Yeah,
good
because my
card.
guys are like, come on,
Yeah. Come
get
on.
out of your
Keep bringing it.
comfort
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that. Wow,
No
thank
problem.
you. I appreciate that so, so much. And you know what,
Yeah.
guys, this guy he's on point. He is really on point. Oh my God, thank you. Now, do you have any future projects or teachings that you're currently working on?
Yeah, well, I'm constantly teaching. I've got my own academy. It's known as the Sacred Planets Academy. And so I teach astrology, I teach numerology, I teach tarot, and I teach palmistry also as well. I am looking to also include things like geomancy as well, but I'm still sort of like making that course. So
Right.
hopefully that will be done maybe over the course of the next few months. But yeah, so I'm constantly teaching. I run live weekly classes. For people who sign up to my courses, they get like lifetime access. And once they sign up, they also get their own portal so they can, study again also at their own pace as well. There's
Nice.
reading material, videos which are constantly being uploaded, and they can keep attending the live classes and ask questions until they get it, until they're ready to move on to the next level. So I'm constantly
Nice.
trying to, well, I'm not trying to, I'm constantly updating and, with my teaching, and also over the course of the next few months, I'm going to be adding more classes. So there's going to be more classes, more live classes as well, because I like to kind of do live classes because I like to show the students in real time how it's working so
Yeah.
they can ask questions. Okay, what is this? What is that? Maybe they want to ask questions something about their chart or about chart interpretation or how to understand the natal chart. What is what? All of that I like to show them in real time. So that's why I like to do the live classes. At the moment, I'm doing like 2 live classes every week, but I'm going to I might be stepping that up to about 4, maybe 5 classes. So there's going to be at different times as well, because also I'm working with different students in different time zones.
Right.
So they can have options of, does it work out? Maybe it may work out in the morning for you, afternoon or evening. So I'm
Nice.
also going to be doing that also as well. So over the course of the next month, there's going to be more classes coming. And I teach from beginners astrology, from grassroots, fundamental, foundation, all the way to all the advanced methods, techniques, how to predict, how to read a birth chart, how to tell circumstances that somebody's in, strengths, weaknesses, all of that, how to answer questions, all of that is things that which I present.
That's
And the
pretty
tarot
cool.
card courses as well is something which I'm always running. Numerology, artistry also as well.
Nice. I'm gonna have to tap into my
Yeah,
astrology
yeah, yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah.
I am gonna tap into different things
Yeah,
between my
we got to
hypnotherapy.
get you signed up.
We definitely, I got
Yeah,
my hypnotherapy, my
yeah.
EFT. Now I'm going to school for
Yeah,
NLP. So I'm
yeah,
always
yeah,
trying to do
exactly. You're
different
in it.
things. I have
Yeah.
to.
Well,
It's in me.
you got that Mercury. You got the Mercury in Sagittarius. Give me a bit of that. I want of that. Give me all the knowledge. Give me all the knowledge.
Give me
So
all
yeah,
the knowledge. I'm all
exactly.
I'm all about knowledge. I'm all about
Exactly.
learning all the time. And it's funny because
Exactly.
I was not like that when I was younger. I just
Right.
didn't care for it because I wasn't interested in whatever the schools had to teach me. For me, it
Right.
was like, whatever. But
Yeah,
now
exactly. Yeah,
I've
you're
tapped
just
into
like, gimme,
so
gimme,
many
gimme.
things that I'm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Now we
Yeah.
are at the end of our show, and
Yeah.
it's been really great. And I love
Yes.
connecting with you. And I have
Likewise.
three. Thank you. I have three closing questions that I like to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, before we wrap it up. Okay, so question number one: if someone is skeptical about astrology, what would you say to open their mind to its potential?
What I would say, if you're skeptical, on some level, it's good to be skeptical. It's good to have a practical approach, a pragmatic approach to life. Yes, it can seem like, well, how is the planet, because I was born when the planet was over there, how is that going to affect me? So yes, do ask these questions and find somebody, if you want to say maybe who's reputable, who that you can ask those questions to. Maybe ask maybe if there are any books or anything of that nature which you could read or you can study that can kind of give you some basic explanation of what or how astrology works. Also, as well, especially in this day and time, we're quite privileged now with internet and social media. There's some things that which are readable, accessible to us right now. YouTube, there's some very good YouTubes that you can, people who've got podcasts, astrology podcasts, who are speaking, so much about astrology and running, and you can approach them as well and maybe ask questions. So go around and ask appropriate questions and have a look into it and take your time. But the fact that you're skeptical, that's good, because at least you're not just swallowing anything that somebody's throwing at you. And then also as well, more important, like test it just to see, like, does it correspond? Perhaps maybe looking at your chart, or if somebody just gives you maybe a basic or a quick sort of like a little interpretation of your chart, just something, does it resonate? Don't stop at the newspapers, because for many people, they think astrology is all what's in the newspapers or the magazines. It's very limited. That's more for kind of entertainment purposes. So you're only going to get little from that. But try to take it a bit further and see what the larger scope of it is about. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Now, how can our listeners connect with you for readings, classes, or consultations?
Yeah, I'm quite easy to find. If you can look me up on social media, I'm on Instagram predominantly. That's like my main kind of like social media, but I am also on TikTok and I'm also on Facebook as well. Sacred Planets. I have a website, sacred www.sacredplanets. So I have both of those domains, Sacred Planets. So you can look me up there. Also Sacred Planets, also on Instagram as well, so you can find me there. Sacred Planet 7, also on TikTok, so you can also find me there too. So I'm quite easy to find. You can also email me at sacredplanets@gmail.com. One word, of course, sacredplanets@gmail.com. You can also find me there as well. So I'm quite easily accessible. I'm very busy. Sometimes I don't get to you straight away, but nevertheless, you can drop me an email or go to my website at any time. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes for the people to be able to access it a little easier.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Really
of
appreciate
course,
that.
of course. And what is one final message or piece of wisdom you'd like to leave with our audience today?
Final message that I'd like to leave is like, keep growing. Never stop. As long as you're breathing, as long as you're alive, keep looking for more. Keep looking for new opportunities. This is what life is about. There is no stopping. The only thing that we can use as a marker, as a point of stop, is that time when we are no longer here, right? And whether we want to say we're journeying to another world, okay, fine. That's absolutely. But as long as we are here in the physical, we are breathing, always keep questioning, keep looking for more, keep searching. And this is where you will start to learn. And through learning, you become more informed. Through being more informed, you make healthier choices, and by making healthier choices, you live a more rich and more fulfilled life.
Power right there. That is such a beautiful message. Very powerful. Thank you for that, Israel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yes. My pleasure. And thank you for joining us on the Dear Souls podcast.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
To our guests.
I've got to come back. I've got to come back. You got to have me back.
Oh, we're going to do it again. We're going to do another one.
You got to, yes.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom. If this episode resonates with you, please subscribe, like, and share. It means the world. Keep growing, keep healing, and never stop shining your light. And until next time, dear souls, with love and light. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.